Well, happy Tuesday, NFT NYC community. My name is Ian Utilli. I'm one of the co-producers, and I'm here with my new friend, Nim. He's with Metacask. Can you please introduce yourself to all of us? And we'd like to get to know more about you and your company.
Sure. Thanks, Ian, for having us on. My name is Nim Sirodhan. I co-founded Metacask earlier this year. Before founding Metacask, I was the CTO of a company called GSR. We're a market maker in the digital asset space. I've been in crypto for some time with GSR, and earlier this year, I kind of decided to take a look at this NFT space and where it was going to go. And interestingly, I guess kind of the historical sort of, let's say, founding of Metacask, I was approached by a whiskey broker in the UK who wanted to sell me some whiskey casks as investments. Casks are basically barrels of whiskey, where the whiskey is maturing for some time, right? So I had a look at how this worked, and my curiosity was piqued. And I discovered that actually this was a physical asset that was non-fungible. So you can't take one cask and exchange it for another, right? And then it sort of got me thinking, well, actually NFTs are really designed for non-fungible assets. And here we have a real world asset, which basically maps quite nicely to the NFT concept. And so Metacask was founded, and here we are, right? We're about to launch our platform at the end of this month. And the goal is to allow people to invest in a real world asset using NFTs as a form of ownership, basically.
I like that idea. I'm excited to learn more about it. When it comes to NFT development and building and collecting and drinking, they both have two things in common. Doing it alone is good, but doing it with friends is better. So let's talk about community. Tell me a bit about your thoughts around building community of people and organizations that would want to acquire these non-fungible tokens around these whiskey flasks. So yeah, let's just engage a bit about community.
For sure. So, I mean, if you take a look at the whiskey market right now, there's actually already an existing marketplace where people can buy, sell, collect these whiskey casks, right? The one thing to keep in mind of the cask is it is the actual large barrel, right? So you're talking like 200 bottles or 300 bottles, right? And what you find these days is that people often get together with friends and they'll say, actually, we don't want to have the whole cask because obviously, 10 years down the line, you might not be able to drink 200 bottles of whiskey. I mean, you might be able to, but most people can't, right?
There are those that would try.
There would be, right? And so the goal is to get together with some friends, form a little club, right? And then often you would go off and buy a cask and then you'd let that mature. And once it's matured, you then have it bottled and delivered and you'd enjoy the bottles, right? So that's kind of one route that some people take. And the goal with what we're trying to do is to almost be the kind of the first layer. So here is digital ownership of the cask, right? And then on top of that, you'll be able to build various other mechanisms. So for example, there are people looking to issue bottles from the casks that we have, right? But all of this becomes possible once we've tokenized the underlying asset and made it available, right? And so the community that we're hoping to build will be made up of different types of group, people, investment funds who want to use it as an underlying asset class for their funds, right? Or it could be individual collectors who are hoping to collect really super rare casks that rarely come to market, right? Plus also then there are the groups of collectors, the enthusiasts, right, who can come together and say, well, we'll get together and we'll buy this one NFT, which is a cask, and hold it, right? And the nice thing with trying to do this with the crypto assets is that we're opening it up to a wider market, right? So right now, if you want to buy a cask, you have to go find a broker in the UK or someone like that who will sell it to you. And here we'll have a marketplace where you can just log on, set up your digital wallet, and effectively participate in buying this physical asset, right? And the advantage is that you're buying an asset that doesn't really depreciate in value; it's only appreciating over time, right? And so buy something, hold it for 10 years, 15 years, and you can see a return from it. So there's different ways that you can deal with the underlying physical asset, right? And so you'll see that basically there are different groups of people, but they just need access, and that's kind of what we're hoping to provide with Metacask. Yeah.
It's a cool idea. I'm glad you came on to chat a bit about it. Let's talk about the tech behind it, the platform that is built or being built. Give me some insight on that.
Sure. So Metacask, we've decided to build it as a decentralized marketplace, right? We're building this on Casper, and it will be going live at the end of this month. So basically, Casper has provided us assistance to build things like the auction smart contracts, for example, because with a decentralized marketplace, we don't necessarily want to do everything in a centralized exchange or anything like that, right? So you manage your own wallet where you hold your own NFTs and your funds, right? And then you set up basically an account on our site and you connect your wallet and you start trading as you would do on any decentralized marketplace. I think the one thing that sort of sets us out from all of the other marketplaces is that we have KYC. So you must execute the KYC. But again, the KYC is executed on chain. So we have a partnership with Civic Identity, and they will basically ensure that we generate a KYC token for everyone who wants to participate in any of the trading, right? And this is important because obviously we're dealing with a physical asset, which is actually also monitored in the UK, right? So it can't be, just any old random person. Unfortunately, we do have to go through this KYC process, right? But it is on chain and you're managing your own identity. It's not done by us, right? And we think this kind of on-chain identity is really something that will sort of go forward with decentralized marketplaces, right? And we're hoping to be one of the first in the NFT space to kind of, encourage that, right? So end of this month, and then November, we'll start dropping our first casks. So there'll be like a Genesis collection, the first 10, and then people can bid for these things and we'll see how it goes from there, basically. Right?
That's great. So let's talk about the future. If I say NFT 2024, a couple years out, what would you like to see happen for what you're working on, but also just in general in the NFT market? When you try to project something positive happening in the next couple of years as things mature and progress and as decentralization becomes more common, what are some of your thoughts on the future of NFTs?
Sure. I mean, so I love the NFT art space. I mean, seriously, I've been collecting NFT art since the beginning of this year, and I have a nice collection myself, right? But I also think that NFTs have value beyond just the art, right? And really, this kind of proof of ownership and provenance is really a huge space where it can be applied, right? And we're hoping to be one of the first projects that apply this kind of proof of ownership to, give you that provenance information on the blockchain, right? And so the idea with what we're trying to do is you buy the physical asset and you effectively say, oh, this is, who bought it and this is the history of this thing, right? And so proving that provenance, the digital provenance, that is kind of the key goal that we want to achieve in the first stages. Down the line, well, there are 21 million casks in Scotland. If I could tokenize all of them, that would be amazing, right? But no, I mean, realistically speaking, I think the goal would be to try to get the brands, the distilleries on board so that they are then issuing the tokens on the platform for, the alcohol that they're producing, right? And then it allows them to also manage their financing a little bit better as well, right? Which is, I think, the goal of what we're trying to do. But I think the digital provenance is really the key place where NFTs will play a massive part going forward, right? Beyond art, and right. Art alone is also huge. I love that space, as I said. But I think you'll see that physical, being able to prove the provenance of something, right? And have that on the blockchain, immutably, right? It's going to be the most valuable piece of what NFTs will give going forward, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Well, how about your final word? We like to keep our pre-event interviews short and shareable. So we want to thank you and your company for being one of our sponsors. It's a wonderful problem to have, but we're out of sponsorship inventory. We have a larger waiting list of people that want to sponsor than have sponsored. But when you chose to sponsor, that was not the case.
No, I mean, I'm so glad that we were actually able to sponsor, to be able to participate with this event, right? I just hope that we can physically make it out there. I think that's going to be the big trick, right? But if we can make it out there, that'll be amazing. But I think, it's been amazing, being part of this process. And thanks for having us on there, right? And I really do look forward to meeting everyone sort of in the real world in New York, hopefully in a few weeks' time, and drop by and say hello.
Yes, well, I look forward to seeing you. And for all those that tuned in to this interview live or watch the archive, thanks for your attention. We appreciate it. And I will be